now that we have that exported, what I want to do is take that second version of the edit that we made, and I want to change the aspect ratio so that it can be used for a slightly different post. So if we bring this up here and check out for Instagram, for example, the aspect ratio that we were just working in is this 1080 by 1920. That's the vertical format that we just did. And that's the vertical format of our second version with the music track. And what I want to do is walk you through how you can very easily change the same video to fit different types of posting or sharing mediums. So we're going to take this 10 by so we're going to take this 9 by 16 aspect ratio that we were so we're going to take this 9 by 16 aspect ratio that we were originally working in, and we're going to change it to make it a 4 by 5 aspect ratio so that you can very easily take a vertical video and turn it into a normal Instagram post. So as you can see, we need to change our sequence setting to 1080 by 1350. This is going to give us the proper ratio so that our video fits perfectly in a normal Instagram post. So let's go into our editing software. You're going to find your sequence that you created. If you don't have a secondary sequence that you've already duplicated to try and add a musical track to, what you can do now is take the sequence you have been working on and duplicate it right now. So I'm going to do copy, paste. I'm going to take this sequence and title it 4 by 5 Instagram post. Okay. I'm going to double click to open it. And then I'm going to right click the sequence and I'm going to go to sequence settings. Here it brings up a panel where I can see all of the actual settings that my sequence is using. And if we go back to our different Instagram ratios, we can see we need to switch this to 1080 by 1350 instead of 1920. So I'm going to type that in and I'm going to hit OK. This is going to ask you, do you really want to make this change to your sequence settings? It's going to change some previews, and it's going to just simply remove any of the previews that you had already possibly had rendered. No big deal. We're going to hit OK. And there we go. Now we have our edit with the proper aspect ratio. But if you scroll through here, you can see that there are some changes that need to be made. We're also cutting off the top and the bottom of our video because we went to a very vertical format to a much more shortened format. So the way to really kind of get around that and fix that is to go to these clips. I'm going to select this first one. And I'm going to go to the effects controls panel on the top left. And I'm going to click the motion function. And I'm going to take the position and I'm going to drag and scoot the video itself up. So that's what it's looking like now. What it was before was there. So you're simply just kind of reframing the shots to match this new formatting. It's a little extra step that you're going to have to do, but the cool thing is that you can take one piece of content and repurpose it to multiple platforms. So we'll kind of play through the rest of this video and see what other shots need to be reframed. And that actually brings me to another tip for this kind of scenario. If at the beginning of your clip, now that we've changed the aspect ratio, it's well framed at the beginning, but you don't like it at the end, for example, I'm framed okay in here, but then we get to the end and we don't really, end of that clip, and we don't really get to see the full waterfall. We can set a keyframe at the beginning of the clip where we like the framing, go to the end, and move the framing to where we want it to be. And what's going to happen is as that clip plays through, because we created these two keyframes, it's going to progressively get to that point at the end of the clip. So let's play that through. So you see it tilted up so that we could see the waterfall because these keyframes that we created by using this little stopwatch function. Let's see these next shots now. Okay, looks pretty good. So for this final shot, if we wanted to add a little bit more motion, we can go to the beginning, select the clip, go to the effects control panel, go to the motion tab, hit that stopwatch, move the beginning of the shot all the way to the bottom, go to the end of the shot, scooch the end of the shot all the way to the top, and now if we play through it, we have that natural handheld movement, but then we added this movement along with it just to add a little extra dynamic layer. And now that we have that, let's go ahead and export this version. We have the in point set at the beginning, the out point set at the end. I'm going to do Command M to bring up our export settings. H.264, we're set with that. And because it's going to be going to a mobile device, we're going to do mobile device 1080p. And just like the other edit, you can scrub through here to preview what it'll be looking like. And again, we have these black bars on the side here because we have not yet worked in the 16:9 aspect ratio. So we're going to click match source. Boom. That gives us the exact 4:5 aspect ratio we're wanting for our Instagram post. We're going to do render at maximum depth. We're going to hit maximum render quality. We're going to scroll down on the audio tab. We're going to make sure our bit rate is set to 320. That's the highest audio settings we can have. And finally, we're going to go up to our output name, click that, and we're going to set our name and our destination for our export. Now, what I do if I'm exporting something that's similar to a previous export, I'm just going to click on that previous export because that's going to pop up a similar name. It's going to save me a little bit of time. I don't have to type quite as much. Mount Shasta V1, and this is going to be Instagram post. Okay. If we had made changes in our edit and updated or changed shots or music, this would be a version 2. But because no physical changes have been made except for that aspect ratio change, it's technically still the same version. So we're going to keep that V1. We're going to hit save and hit export. And now if we navigate to our project files, go to our editing folder, we have both of our versions here. So you can see we have our story post.
Now that is a waterfall.
And then we have our secondary version where we did a little bit of experimenting with adding a soundtrack. I hope that gave you some insights on the techniques and the strategy on keeping your workspace clean, using a good workflow that's going to speed up your editing, and really learn how to use the different options that you have of using different audio styles, using music, and cutting your footage in a way that actually creates the feeling that you want in your viewer. We clearly had the same exact footage. We used different editing techniques to create a different final product, and then we exported those different edits in different formats that matched up for different ways of sharing that content. So to summarize what we did in this chapter, we first started with our workflow where we learned how to organize, back up our content, as you know, one of my favorite parts, and keep a clean workspace, which is going to really come in handy as we go through this course and our edits get more and more complex and we learn more high-level techniques. After we captured and gathered all of our content, We then started pulling our selects inside of our editing software. This allowed us to really organize our editing timeline and create a really rough but organized and color-coded structure so that we didn't really have to worry about what the final edit would look like, but we got to kind of put things in places and experiment a little to find out the ordering and the overall flow of our edit. After that, we went into creating our first draft edit. This is where we really focus more on pacing, rhythm, honing in on the shots that we were going to use, and started to really get an idea of what our edit was going to look like. Then we moved into refining our audio. We used crossfades to make our cuts a lot more seamless. We balanced out the levels of our audio between our clips. And then we tried a secondary edit where we used music instead of our background audio from our footage. And this is just the beginning. We're like honestly just scratching the surface on the post-production process. So we're going to grow a lot. We're going to learn a lot during this course. So I'm excited, and I will see you in the next chapter.